All right, hello and welcome. This is our FitEssentials intermediate level class. My name is Shauna. I'll be guiding you through. We're gonna just briefly start down on the floor for a short warm up, some stretching and some breathing, and then we'll be coming up to our feet for our first segment today. So cat cow first, come on down to hands and knees. Perfect, Moose. I'm finally tired. Nice wide handprint underneath each shoulder. Draw your stomach in as you exhale. You're gonna round, lifting up to that mid back, draw that chin to the chest. And then on your inhale, nice soft arch, looking forward. Between 3 and 5 times here, connecting with your own breathing. Nice deep cleansing breaths. Draw those shoulders down the spine as you breathe in, looking forward. Really lift up through that mid body as you breathe out. Maybe once or twice more. Fantastic. When you finish that, we're going to do that combo movement of our child's position with our side stretch. So toes together, knees divide. We're going to start with your left leg extended out to the side. Take your left hand, reach across towards the right, and then just a gentle rock back here, lowering the head down, rocking your hips back towards the opposite heel. And we're going to keep this dynamic. So you're going to breathe in as you rock forward, breathe out as you rock back. 3 to 5 times. Bowing that head down. And the leg that's outstretched, try to turn the sole of the foot down towards the mat. Kind of grip that foot into the floor. So one more time, and then we'll switch sides. Very good. When you're ready, walk that outside leg in, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Nice long extension with that leg. Turn the sole of that foot down, and then take that same side hand gently across. Breathing out as you rock back, breathing in as you come forward. And breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. Very nice. Bowing that head down. So one more time on this side, and then we're going to make our way into down dog as our last stretch on the ground, and then we'll make our way up to standing. So to get prepped for that down dog, spread those fingers wide, hands underneath those shoulders, turn the toes under, drive the hips high, and then a nice soft pulse. You're rocking yourself forward and back here, drawing that chin towards your chest, guiding your heart towards your thighs. Breathing in as you rock forward, breathing out as you push back. And then on that next one, start to pedal out those heels, lowering one heel towards the floor and then the other. Stretching out those calves. Thanks, Moose. And then once those calves get stretched, then we'll start that inchworm walk, keeping those knees nice and bent. When you come into that forward fold position, just slowly make your way up to standing. Fantastic. All right, once everyone gets up here, we'll just start with a little hip circle. He's okay. And then circle those hips the other way. Most likes to be part of the show. All right, from here, just a little bit of balance work. Standing onto one leg, draw those shoulders back, ankle rolls first. We're gonna go ankle rolls and then a quad stretch. And then we're gonna get it moving. Good, change directions there. Focus to keep those hips nice and level. Turn your palms forward. Excellent, same thing, other leg. Step down, draw back. So I squeeze those shoulders back behind. Palms are facing forward to help open that chest. Wonderful. Good, change directions there. Solid job. All right, one more time in those hip circles, and then we'll finish with our quad stretch. Good, change directions. Nice and smooth. Moose has got his favorite toy here, his first bed. His little baby bed, he loves to drag it around. All right, back to that first leg. Draw those shoulders back, coming on to a single leg, pulling the heel towards the glute. We're going to hold from 20 seconds from here. Make sure those ribs don't start to flare up. Draw the front of the ribs down. We're focused to try to draw that heel towards the glute without letting that thigh sink forward. So keep guiding the thigh back. 10 more seconds. 2, 1, and shake it out. Same thing, other side. Anchor down, lift up, grab that second foot. Those of you here live are all making it look easy. It is a more challenging position, just depending upon your flexibility through the quads, your own ability to balance. Go ahead, 10 seconds left. Oh, moose, moose. Okay, that's probably gonna have to go away soon, buddy. And 3, 2, 1, and shake that out. Nice job. All right, if you have a water glass around, let's take a short drink. We're gonna get started here in about 10 seconds, starting with some march and punch. If you wanna have some light dumbbells available, we're gonna be doing our third exercise. Will be a half squat with a front raise. So you wanna have like a nice light dumbbell. Standing nice and tall when you're ready. Just nice and smooth here. Start with a little march and punch. If you're warmer than I am right now and you feel like you want to run in place or skip in place, go a little bit higher intensity. My body's still waking up a little bit here. Breathing out as you punch. Keep those hands nice and high by the shoulders. Excellent. And from there, either into a step or jump jack, up to you. Trying to make nice full circles of the hands, bringing them in front of the pelvis, in front of the stomach, and then up to overhead. Good. Warming up the body. Couple more. Fantastic. From here, if you want to grab one of those light weights, setting the feet for the squatting position, so about hip width apart, slight toe out, and then when you're ready, we're doing the half squat with the front raise. So without a weight, no problem. Just raise those arms up in front, driving those knees nice and wide, sitting back into the heels. It's going about quarter to a halfway of your normal position. Excellent. Maybe one more here. And take a short pause. You can hold on to that same weight. Walk your feet just a little bit wider. Next, draw that stomach in. Long spine as you hinge down, reaching to the floor. Then you're going to curl that weight into the chest. Squeeze the glutes as you raise those arms up to overhead. Excellent. From the ground, hinging forward. Midline strong, curling in, driving high. Excellent. Let's go between 3 and 4 more. Just use it as a warm-up, waking up the back of the body. Excellent. Knees push wide as you reach between the legs. Give me one more time. And up. Fantastic. All right, set the weight down. We're going back up to the top. When you're ready, march, or like a little skip in place. Second of 2 rounds through here. Move just a hair faster this round. Good. When you're ready, step or jump jacks. Moose jacks. Oh, yeah. Good work. We're getting ready for our half squat with front raise next. 3, 2, 1. Transition. Lightweight if you'd like. Squatting position for the feet. And here we go. Awesome. So keeping that just a shorter pattern, not quite as deep. We're going to have some deeper squats coming up in our next circuit. Good breathing. Let's go 2 more. And pause. Our ground overhead, walking those feet nice and wide. Long spine as you bow down. Squeeze the glutes. Protect that low back as you reach up to overhead. Hips back. Up. Nice. Everybody looking really solid there. I'm going to go another 10 seconds with this movement. Yep. Bowing forward, looking down to the ground as you bow. Looking straight ahead as you stand. Last time. And rest. All right, great work. Just a little shakeouts. Feel free to grab some water. I'm going to clear up some of this stuffy mess before Moose tries to eat it. All right, we got 2 exercises coming up next. Squatting. This time we'll come all the way down. You can hold dumbbells if you'd like. And then we're pairing that with our Renegade Row. So let's just warm up the wrist a little bit. Little wrist circles here. Fantastic. Back sides of the hands together, fingers pointing down. Draw the elbows down. Good, and then front sides. Get a prayer position, draw the elbows up. Fantastic. All right, we have 3 rounds. The first round is a minute in length for each exercise. Then we have reduced time each set. We'll take 15 seconds in between exercises, 30 seconds in between sets. As the time goes down, you could go heavier in weight if you choose. All right, gonna start here in 10 seconds with the squats. You can either hold 1 weight in each hand, you can go unweighted, or 1 weight under the chin is how I'm gonna start. Set those feet, eyes looking forward, 2, 1. Minute starts now. All the way into that squat this time. Pushing those elbows up and forward if you're holding that weight. Keeping your eyes looking straight ahead. And then pair into that breathing. Breathing in as you lower down, breathing out as you stand tall. Nice and steady. Knees driving nice and wide, making room for your hips to lower down. Sitting back into those heels, ideally without raising those toes up. So try to find that big toe, push it down. You're over halfway. 20 seconds left. Great rhythm, everyone. You can always slow it down by giving a little pause at the top and then moving back through it. Beautiful. Couple more. And 2, 1. There's that minute. For the Renegade Row, we're in a plank position down on the floor. So it's like you're kind of coming to a push-up. You can also be on your knees. Set your feet a little bit wider than you normally would. Draw that stomach in. And then when you're ready, we're all training arms. Elbow draws nice and high. Eyes focused forward, meaning down at your mat. And then just like when we practice our planks and our push-ups, we want to keep our hips level. Gravity tends to pull those hips down, which puts our low back into an arched position. So you always want to rest before you start to lose that body position. That's our first 30 seconds. Keep breathing now. Breathing out as you draw that elbow nice and high. Excellent. 45 seconds done. 15 seconds left. Try to flex those thighs. Help stabilize that lower body. We got a 30-second break coming up in 3, 2, 1, and rest. Good. Feel free, however you want to use your rest. You want to drop back into a modified child's for a moment. When you come back up, maybe grab a drink of water. Next round is our 45-second set. You want to add a little bit different weight. I'm going to hold 1 weight in each hand this time. All right, starting in 5. Back to your squats. And here we go. Sinking into that rhythm. Those of you that are really flexible, just make sure you don't bounce on the bottom or go so far down that you lose that arch in the low back. I don't want you to feel like your hips are rolling under you. Hold strong in the middle. Breathing and moving. Good. Controlling down and then drive those legs, standing strong. 10 seconds left. Woo! 3, 2, 1, and we're back to our Renegade Row. Those feet just a little bit wider. Help hold yourself nice and neutral. 2, 1, begin. Draw that chin in. Hold that belly button in strong towards your spine. Breathing in as I lower my weight down. Breathing out as I draw that elbow nice and high. Try to keep the shoulder out of your ear. Great work. Anytime you need a break, you can shake it out. 30 seconds done, 15 seconds left. Good work, friends, moving well. And 3, 2, 1, 30 seconds till we come into our final round. Woo. All right. Take it out, use your rest however you'd like. If you want to bring a little bit heavier weights into this last round. As mentioned, we have 30 seconds at each exercise, and then we're going to take a stretch break. All right, set those feet, eyes looking forward, and 2, 1, we're back to our squats. Excellent work. If you're feeling strong today, here's where you kind of push that tempo just a little bit. Halfway through. Awesome. Great position. 1 or 2 more. And there's that 30 seconds. All right. 15 seconds transition, and then we'll finish with that renegade. All right, making your way down. Set the feet. 3, 2, 1. When you're ready, begin. Chin in, eyes looking right between those hands. Focus to keep those hips level to the shoulders, having as little shift side to side as you can. Strong work. Maybe 1 more on each arm. 2, 1, and everybody come on down to the knees. Nice work. You can sit back on your heels. I want to shake out those arms. Alrighty, from here, let's stretch the triceps for a moment. Raise one arm straight up, draw that chin in, bend the elbow, grabbing it back. I haven't forgot about the bands. Those of you wearing the blood flow bands, we'll let that air out in just a minute. Switch arms when you're ready. Grab that elbow, drawing it back. We're going to get in a handful of stretches here, and then we have one more circuit coming up next. Got some deadlifts. We have some options for some upper body pushing. You can do a dip. When you finish that tricep stretch, let's go our behind the back stretch from a kneeling position. Dip, push up, or an overhead press. If you're not coming tomorrow, we have both some push-ups and some overhead work. I'm going to be demoing the dip once we get into that circuit. And then we'll all be coming down to the floor for what's called a rolling plank. And then our last exercise will be a farmer's march. All righty. From here, let's come onto your back. I want to loosen up that low back before we come back to our feet. And we're also going to warm up some push-ups to get ready for our dip before we return to our feet. So go ahead and lay on back, hug both legs into your chest, and gently rock side to side. Oh, if you are wearing the bands, go ahead and let the air out before you do this. All done there. Good. From two-knee twist, if you'd like to go deeper into that stretch, you can splay your arms out to the side at 90 degrees. And then two-knee twist, you bring both legs across, turn the head and neck. Relaxing into it. Breathing in as you bring the legs across to the other side. Look over the opposite shoulder. Couple more each direction. Your time frame is a little bit shorter today. If your energy levels are a little bit low, you can also use this stretch phase here as our cool down stretch. Don't feel like you have to do all 3 sections today. Once you even yourself out on both sides of that 2-knee twist, we're going to go 5 reps of a glute bridge. Get a bit more activation for the back of the body, as well as open up the front of those hips. So when you're ready, raise the hips up, draw that chin to the chest, squeeze the glutes, and then gradually lower on down. 5 on your own. The higher the hips come, the more you want to think about drawing that chin down. You can feel a nice lengthening for the back of the neck. You oftentimes hold a lot of tension in the back of the upper spine. So just a chance to help release a little bit of that tension. Fantastic. Once you finish those 5 glute bridge, we'll make our way rolling over to all 4s, and we'll return to that down dog as we come back to standing. Oh no, push-ups. I haven't forgotten. Almost forgot. So either on your knees or on your hands, we'll warm up a few push-ups. I'm not going to be demoing these for the next circuit, but it's a great prep for those dips. And as mentioned, if you prefer the push-up or an overhead press, you just want to choose an upper body pushing exercise. You can also do an overhead tricep extension. We are going to have a 45-minute interval. So, or 45 seconds. When you finish about a handful of push-ups, start to inchworm your way back to your feet. Good. All right, grab a drink of water. You need to get out a little bit of heavier weights as we're going to get ready for some deadlifts. And then you're going to want to have moderate to heavy weights that you can hold in your hands and march with when we come to that farmer's march.
I'll take that 50 pound.
Yeah.
I'll get that 50 pound.
Oh, you can have that.
For the march. Sorry.
All righty, no problem. All right, so our order, and if you're not too familiar with these, our rolling plank, we've got 3 rounds. So I'm just going to kind of demo as we move. Starting with that deadlift. If you're feeling a little bit stiff in the low back, just move nice and slow. If you have 1 weight, I'm going to recommend holding it between the legs. If you have 2 weights, it might feel a little bit smoother to have them on the outside of the legs. All right, starting here in about 10 seconds. Check in with your feet, toes pointing mostly forward. Draw those shoulders back in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Long spine. Breathing in on the down, breathing out on the up. Nice. And then just determine, so Jean, just how you're holding your dumbbells, maybe just go mid shin and then stand from there. Sometimes when we reach all the way down to those ankles, our back gets a little bit more stretched than maybe we'd like. Good, Kathy. Look smooth, Sharon. Breathing in as you lower, breathing out as you stand. Squeeze the backside. A few more times. So over and up. 5 seconds left. 2, 1, and pause. Good. Upper body push next. So as mentioned, if you're not coming tomorrow, you could work that overhead press. You can go back to the push-ups, or you can join me with the dip. So I'm going to use this box here, drawing the shoulders back. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. On the dip, I'm going to draw those elbows in, lower the hips down, and with a 45-second interval, I like to slow down that rep scheme a little bit, activate the back of the body, and raise those hips up and forward. Still focus on that long spine position. Breathing in on the down, breathing out on the up. Oh, moose. Good. Down and up, nice and smooth. Opening through the chest. Nice. Good breathing. And 2, 1, and we're all done there. Awesome work. Shake it out. We're making our way down to the floor. I'm going to show you this rolling plank next. So for the rolling plank, you're going to start on your front plank, and you're going to come to one side of the side plank. Okay, now you need to go see your friend. And now think about leading with your shoulders and the hips follow. You'll come back to the front plank, and then again, roll to the other side plank. So it's just from the front plank to one side and back. All right, we'll start here in 5 seconds. Shake it out if you need. And 2, 1, begin. Focus to try to keep your hips and shoulders level. So if you lead with that shoulder as you come out of that front plank, it will help from dropping your hips too soon. Prefer to see control of your movement instead of speed of movement on this one. Good. Keep it rolling. I'm just going to come a little closer, see how you're all looking. Nice. Good, Kathy. There you go, Sharon. And come all the way to where you're going to stack your feet for that side plank if you can. So come all the way to that side position. There we go. Almost there. And 2, 1, and rest. Excellent. Back to your feet. Now we have our farmer's march. A couple of options with that farmer's march. If you have heavier weights, hold them at the sides of your body like you're carrying some grocery bags. If you don't feel very challenged by your weight, you can hold them in what we call our front rack position. All right, so we'll start here in 10. They're at the sides, palms forward. Squeeze those shoulders back. 45 starts now. And depending upon your area at home, you can march in place. If you can, move around a little bit, then go ahead and move around. If you have a puppy dog biting at your toes, you can also stand in place, squeeze those glutes, and just work on that strong posture. Got a feisty pup today. There you go, eyes forward. Keep holding those shoulders back. 30 seconds in, 15 seconds left. We're gonna have a 30-second break after we finish this march. 10 more seconds. Good. Jean, on that front rack, try to have elbows forward a bit more. There you go. And that's our 45. Take a pause. Grab some water. Make any changes you need for your weights. We back to that deadlift here in about 20 seconds. Oh, moose. You being ornery. All right, listen to your body. If you need more rest, we're getting ready to start our second of 3 rounds. I'm gonna hold the weights on the side so toes are forward. Draw that stomach in. 2, 1, begin. Excellent. Pushing the hips straight back, either all the way to the floor or just mid-shin. I like to hold my dumbbells by like the top of the handle so that they're as long as I can. Kettlebells are great as well. Now I want that head position to change a bit. So as I bow down, I draw that chin and I'm looking down, but then as I stand tall, keeping that spine neutral, I want to then look forward. 10 seconds. Standing straight up and down without overarching the spine. Wonderful. 2, 1, and rest. Upper body pushes next. Push up, overhead press, or round 2 of the dip. Shoulder position is key as you come into your positioning. 2, 1, here we go. Especially those on the push-ups, watch from winging their elbows wide. Try to lead with your heart towards the floor. If you get to where you can't get another rep in, you can always hold that plank position at the top. Breathing in as you lower, breathing out as you push through. any version you're doing, you want to still try to engage that lower body, flex the thighs, squeeze the glutes. 2, 1, and all done there. Awesome. We're back to the floor for that rolling plank. Palms down on the forearms to begin. Maybe have your feet just a little bit wider than the hips. And when you're ready, you're going to roll onto one arm, come up into that full side plank position, and then lead with the shoulder. Try to hold those hips high. Whoops. And sometimes you'll fall back. Just come back into position when you need. I fall out of position as well. Rolling with as much control as you can. Very nice, crew. Almost there. Maybe once more on each side. And 2, 1, and make your way up to standing. We're back to our march. All right. So if you're holding the weights high, instead of elbows wide, elbows up and forward. When you're ready, go ahead and start. So this front rack also works those shoulders. You want to think about protracting, which just simply means push those shoulders up and forward. Breathe as you march. Nice, great cadence. Those exercises that kind of sneaks up on you. Those of you with the weights to the side, if you need to take a break from that front rack, you can lower the hands to the side, palms forward, really squeezing those shoulders back. 10 seconds left. There you go. 3, 2, 1, and everybody take that rest. All right, nice work. We'll take 30 seconds from now, and then we'll come into our third and final round. So you'd like to pick up or take into position the heaviest weights that you feel comfortable with as we finish these deadlifts. Challenge your body without harming your body. So I'm taking it back to the kettlebell now. I'm going to have one weight between the legs. Set the feet, draw that belly in, and here we go. Third and final time in each exercise. Stay consistent. Feeling strong, kind of push that pace a little bit. Ensure you're engaging those shoulders back. So you want to squeeze through those shoulder blades, kind of activate those lats to keep that weight close to your center of gravity as you lower down. Awesome. Strong crew. That's our 30-second mark. 15 seconds left. Keep breathing. And pause. Awesome job. Upper body push, push-ups, overhead press, or the dip. Set that upper body. Here we go. So as you work in the dip, make sure you don't let those shoulders come into your ears. So you want to think about pushing down, drawing those shoulders back and down. Add that hip bridge, or if you'd like a little bit higher rep scheme, then just up and down. Don't worry about bridging those hips. Try to look forward when you can. That's 30 seconds. If you get to where you feel like you can't press another one out, you can try to hold that top position. 2, 1, and all done there. All right, coming back to the floor for our final rolling plank. Coming onto the forearms. When you're ready, into that front plank to start. Here we go. Rolling to the side. Leading with the shoulders, hips follow through. Whew. It's always the side that gets me. Try not to topple back. As you come back to that front plank, that's when you really want to pull that stomach in. The hips tend to be a little bit heavier than our shoulders, so sometimes they'll pull us forward faster, and they'll want to pull that hip out of position, or that lower spine rather out of position. Continue to breathe. 10 seconds. And done. All right. Final exercise, coming back to the march. Heaviest weights you feel comfortable with. 2, 1. Here we go. These carries are really good postural work, working endurance, making it easy for when you go grocery shopping. I know my family, my sister and I try to play that game of one trip from the car with the grocery bags. Good. Nice work, friends. Over halfway, got about 15 seconds left. Keep pulling up from the head, level through the shoulders. 3, 2, 1, and everybody rest. Woo! We're gonna have a little round of applause. Shake those arms out. Let's grab a drink. All right. Nice work. And clear this space a little bit. If you have a chair, or you can go to the wall, we're going to do our between hinge stretch next. Open up that mid back. Down dog also mimics this quite well. So you can either place your hands against the wall. I'm going to use the back of the chair here. Walking the feet back. Soft bend those knees as you bow the head down between the arms. And think about, especially those of you on a chair, try to push your palms down into that surface. Try to activate those lats, and then draw the stomach in and lead your heart forward. Draw the chin in as well. And then let's spend about 5 more breaths here. Really breathing deep, trying to send your air to the outsides of the rib cage, the back of the rib cage. One or two more breaths. And when you're ready, coming back up to standing. Setting that down. We're going to do our behind the back stretch next from standing. So for the standing position, last time we were kneeling, walk those feet wide outside the hips, root down to those legs, establish a nice soft knee bend, tuck the front of those ribs down as you reach your hands behind you and extend the arms. And then you're still trying to practice that long spine, sending the hips back, bow the head down, and draw the hands right over top of that torso. Breathing here. You tuck that chin in, let your head be heavy. On that next inhale, come back up. Fantastic. All right, next I'm going to bring you down into a lunge. We're going to open up the mid back and the upper body. You can bring a pillow if you'd like, or roll your mat up if your knee is a little bit tender. And if your mobility is challenging, you want to bring a pillow or like a yoga block over, you can grab that. Otherwise, I'm going to encourage you to mirror me. So I'm going to step my right foot forward. You want to start with your left foot forward, and you'll bring your opposite knee down to the mat. If you're using that block or pillow, just have it nearby. First things first, interlace those hands, raise those arms up to overhead, lifting up out of your hips. And then you're going to glide your hips forward, squeeze the glute on that trail leg. See if you can grab the wrist of your right leg and then turn your body towards your left. Really try to flex that glute of that trail leg. Good. Rest out of it for a second. Hips rock back. Lift up that torso as you rock forward. And then one more time, rotating that torso. And rest the arms down, shake it out. We're gonna stay on this side, add the tricep side bend. So now your right arm again, raise the arm up, bending that elbow, draw that chin in as you reach around. And then we'll get that hip shift. And this time we're gonna laterally bend or laterally flex towards that front leg. Good, Sharon, make sure you're on the heel of that front foot. And that shin vertical, good. Come out of it, hips back, hips forward, eyes up. Soft bend to the side. Draw the chin in. And one more time, hips back, hips forward, lift through your chest. And then if you'd like, as you side bend, you can gently rotate, peering up to the ceiling. And release, nice job. Shake it out, we're gonna go ahead and switch knees, and then we'll come back to this side. So same thing on the opposite side. Interlace the hands, starting with those rotations. So raise up, shift the hip forward, keeping that front foot planted. And now we're gonna grab the wrist of your left arm and we're rotating. Rotate your torso towards that front leg. Breathe. Coming out of it, we'll do that one once more. Hips back, hips forward, soft rotation. Release, shake those arms out. Tricep side bend on the same side. Raise your left arm straight up. Chin in as you bend that elbow. Reaching around. Hips shift again. And now the side bend. One of my favorites. Holding for a couple of breaths, and we're going to do it twice more. Coming out of it, hips back, hips forward, eyes up. Lengthen that side body as you bend towards that front leg. Good, final time. Back, forward, and now this is the one that you can add that rotation, turning that head and neck, peering up past that elbow, never forcing, just opening and release. Wonderful. All right, we're gonna go back to your first leg, and this is where if you have that block, you might wanna bring it into play. So your right knee down, left foot forward. The block would come by your front foot if you need it. You're gonna bring the elbow on the inside of the knee of that lead leg and then go ahead and slide on down. You're gonna hover your body down by that instep. Bow the head down and then just breathe here. Feel that opening on the outer hip. I feel it a little bit into my low back. After we spend a little bit of time up here breathing, now we're going to add the rotations of the arms. So start with your right arm. You're going to crawl that outer arm underneath that lead leg. And then I'm using my block here a bit, reaching up, following that hand with your gaze. And do it twice more. Breathe in as you crawl the hand underneath that leg, seeing how far you can reach. And then breathe out. Spread the fingers of that hand. Follow the hand with your eyes looking up towards the ceiling. Pausing in that open position. Fantastic. After 3 times on that arm, now we'll do that same concept with your left arm, crawling underneath that right arm, reaching under. And then you're going to rotate towards your body. Fairly common here. Sometimes you'll get a little adjustment in that low back on these rotations. Let your body open as it needs, breathing in on the reach, breathing out as you open. Excellent. Once you've gone 3 times on each arm, we're going to switch legs and balance it out on the opposite side. First, that instep stretch. So if you have your right leg forward, right elbow on the inside of the knee, slide down the shin, and just hover by this instep. Breathing into the outer part of the body. Good. When you're ready, it's going to be the left arm first, crawling the hand underneath the front leg. Breathing out, rotating open. 3 times each arm. Breathing in, crawling under. We breathe out as we rotate to get the more air that's out of the lungs, the more rotation we'll be able to have. Wonderful. And then when you finish that outer arm, then the right hand crawls underneath your left arm. Breathing in, breathing out. Pause at the end of that exhale. Invite that torso to open into that twist. 3 times total. Fantastic. When you finish there, we're going to come into child's toes together, knees divide. We're going to go a supinated position this time. So you're going to bring your little fingers together, palms turned up towards the sky. Walk those knees nice and wide, and then rock your hips back, bow that head down. Breathing into your back. Fantastic. Then when you finish there, we're going to return to where we started with our cat-cow. So hands underneath the shoulders, draw that stomach in 3 to 5 times total. Exhale, rounding into that angry cat back. And then inhale, soft arch, looking forward. Evidently, this is our cow position. Bowing down. Forward. Moose, moose. As many times as your body is asking. And then when you finish, we're going to come seated for our final breaths. So you can either sit crisscross position, or if you can sit back on those heels. 3 breaths together. You're going to bring the hands in front of the heart. As you breathe in, raise those hands up to overhead. You can shrug your shoulders into your ears. And then as you breathe out, release all the tension. Calmly lower it on down. Fantastic. I invite you to close your eyes if you'd like. Breathing in twice more. Raise up. Breathe in some love. Breathe out all the worry. Beautiful. And final time. Let's breathe in some peace. Send out some light to the world. And exhale. Everybody relax. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Anything else your body is asking for? Otherwise, I appreciate your time today to take care of your body, move here with me, and look forward to moving with you next time.